What's going on, guys? First vehicle of the day. One of my subscribers came from Wisconsin. He drove down to Illinois to have me service his wife's 2019 Escape. So we're gonna get it in, get all the fluids and stuff changed, do the preventative maintenance and stuff for him, take care of him. There's some things I wanted to kind of talk to you about. There were some issues that were brought to my attention recently, not only by my management team, but by people concerned for this industry in general. And one of the things that we often bring up is dealership markup on prices of vehicles and stuff, right? So a lot of people, we have a bad review on our company page right now, which is not fair to us, and I'll explain why. And there's a bunch of reviews that are not fair to us, and I just know people can be bitter people when they don't get their way, when they stomp their feet enough or bang on their chest like they're trying to firmly get their way. I need to let this vehicle warm up a little bit more. It's still kind of cold because I need to be able to do the services properly, and I want it warm to get all the oil out of it, get all the coolant stuff out of it nice, and it's been sitting overnight. When a lot of these people don't get their way, they will throw a fit and they leave bad reviews. There's a review on our page right now that says the guy bought a Maverick back in 21, and then 10 months later the vehicle shows up and he has to pay $5,000 more for the Maverick than what was agreed on. Well, first of all, there was no agreement price on it. The guy came in and was interested in buying a Maverick and sat down, paid the $500 deposit, signed no purchase agreement, signed no bill of sale. Basically, that guaranteed him first come, first serve on that car, but didn't lock him into a price, didn't lock him into MSRP. And another thing that's going on is the manufacturers aren't adjusting their MSRP for inflation as well. They're keeping the MSRP down and expecting the dealers to sell the vehicle at a lower MSRP than moving with inflation, while everything else is moving with inflation. Fuel and food and babysitters and everything else moves, but the manufacturer's kind of making us look like the bad guy when they're leaving a vehicle at $26,000 when it should be a $30,000 vehicle. Everything moves with the market. So while everything else is moving, the sale price of the car is not moving. So what the manufacturer makes the dealership look like is the bad guy whenever they let the vehicle move with it with open-ended contracts. But if you sat down to purchase a car, you put the $500 deposit down, you signed the bill of sale and the purchase agreement because you were set on buying that vehicle, instead of thinking, oh, well, maybe something new will come out from Hyundai or from Toyota or from Chrysler, and I might be interested in that, so I'll put my deposit down and I can get my deposit back, so that's not that big of a deal. I just won't sign the paperwork. They'll go ahead and order the vehicle for me, and I'll have first dibs on that vehicle. But I don't take into account between now and when I go pick up that vehicle what type of inflation may occur. And $3,000 to $5,000 is not an abnormal inflated price on a vehicle with almost a year time that passes. Now, I definitely see the issue with people saying that vehicles have been marked up $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, depending on what vehicle it is. That's a huge issue, and I get that that's just taking advantage of people. But when you have like a $3,000 to $5,000 markup, that's not really abnormal. And that bad review is a 1-star, and the guy says, well, I wish I could give you guys 0 stars. Well, I want to use that as an educational point. First of all, the gentleman never came in here to purchase the vehicle. It was his uncle that did it. And he's leaving the review as himself. And the fact of the matter is, the guy's a salesman. He sells cars and does the same exact thing that other dealerships or auto place or sales places do. It's a guy stomping his feet, banging on his chest, wanting instant gratification. What do you do in a situation like that? Do you make him happy? And even though he signed the paperwork and took the vehicle and agreed on the $5,000 increase, you didn't have to leave with the vehicle. You could have not even bought it then. You had the option to say, give me my $5,000 back, but instead you went ahead and signed all the paperwork. It's kind of like, I'm sorry, I have sympathy, but I don't have sympathy. You made your bed, and now you lay in it. When you sat down, if you weren't so sketchy about, am I really going to want this a year from now when this vehicle finally shows up? Maybe something else comes out I like, or Maybe there's another vehicle I run across I like, or somebody with a better deal, and I'll just get my money back, and then they could sell it to whoever, because demand is so high right now, it's going to sell no matter what. So that's how the conversation line was left open with this guy. And the sad thing is, when you look at how these situations arise, when you look at the CEO of our company in general, I'm not talking bad about Farley, but there's some things that he said recently that I don't think is very appropriate. In my professional opinion, he's laying a lot of issues at the dealers' feet and pinning a lot of what's going on the dealers when it's directly related to the manufacturer's fault themselves. Think back 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Dealers were given $1,000 off MSRP, $1,500, $2,000 off MSRP. People were coming and getting like $1,000 in accessories and forward points and stuff like that. The deals were crazy, right? And they were just awesome. And then COVID came along. Everything got crazy. Manufacturers started screwing up. A lot of the new vehicles were screwed up being delivered to the dealership. Nobody's really being held that accountable for that, other than us as the technicians at the dealership level, and the customers yelling at us because of what the manufacturer's doing, and then we're having to fix the situation. And a lot of times there's no fix for the situation. We're having to literally come up with it and try everything we possibly can for us to figure out the fix ourselves. And a lot of times you've seen on this channel where I've done that. There was no fix for it. I had to come up with the fix and then charge the manufacturer for my fix under warranty. Well, what a lot of times they're not telling you is this. The demand is there. The customers want the vehicles. They just can't supply them fast enough. When they can't supply them fast enough and the demand keeps going up, that means the price has to go up. The lights have to stay on, the bills have to be paid, the employees have to be paid. There has to show some green, because if you don't show green, then you're not doing your job right. And there's going to be a customer out there that's willing to pay that $5,000 more here as opposed to 10 or 15 somewhere else. So when you don't come in and you don't sit down and sign the contract, sign the bill of sale, sign the purchase agreement, you're not locked into anything. That can change at any time. The dealer can choose to, hey, here's the vehicle, here's the price. You know, unfortunately, we've let the market kind of change the price of it a little bit. It's went up $5,000 since you made the agreement to entertain buying the vehicle and you wanted to order it, but there was no lock-in paperwork at the time set, so we could technically give you your $500 back, and you know, if we can't come to an agreement, and then you could walk away from this, no problem. We'll sell it to somebody else that will pay the $5,000 more, or you can pay what we've asked. You had the option to lock it in at the time, but you chose not to do it. Well, now we're the bad guy because they didn't understand the process. Yet they were told, maybe not all the time, but they were told, lock in the paperwork with a bill of sale and purchase agreement, and the price doesn't change. But if you don't lock it in, price can change. That's business. That's life. What I get a kick out of is Farley will say the dealership's got to stop marking this up and doing that up and all this, and we're going to start restricting vehicle flow to the dealerships if they don't stop doing it, and blah, 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 blah. Well, here's my question. You want them to start doing it, or you want them to start doing things your way, then when are you going to start supplying us enough vehicles to meet the demand so we can be a competitive market with other dealerships and stuff and not have to go through this? It's not a dealership problem. It's a manufacturing problem that's driving a lot of the chaos that's going on. Let's place the blame at the feet of the people that need to be blamed. This is a business. The corporate entity of who's driving all this and controlling all this needs to do better. And they're not. And they need an scapegoat. The dealerships are the scapegoat. Why? They're trying to push more EV, more electric, more all this other stuff, opening new plants and stuff for more EV, more hybrid, more electric. They're driving people away from what we're able to get. And the demand is high for specific vehicles that are fuel efficient. The price will go up if you don't sign a purchase agreement or a rental agreement, or not a rental agreement, a purchase agreement and buyer's agreement, a bill of sale. And they know that. They know people are iffy and scared right now. They're going to do whatever it takes to place the blame at the dealership level instead of owning up to it, which they should be. Farley knows himself that he should accept blame for this. He should come out and say, look, It's our main issue right now, and why these prices and the market is the way it is with automotive. It is our issue right now because we cannot supply the dealership with enough to get the consumer a fair price, a good price, and still be able to make profit in a smaller margin, still keep the doors open, still be a little bit in the green, and show a company with building good equity. But we can't do that, and the dealerships they're looking like the bad guy because we can't supply them with the appropriate vehicles to be a competitive market, to be a fair market, to take care of the consumer. You know, and then let's talk about some of the other reviews on there's a guy that said something about the sales team this and the service department that and everything else. We've never even done service with this guy. We don't even know who this guy is. Just completely trashes the company because of what some bad person or this person says or that person says, blah, 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 blah. And they leave these bad reviews and stuff like that, and all our hard work and what we're trying to do, and our new management team is trying to do to change the stigma of how we operate, is being destroyed. If you look at our actual company website, you see the majority of everything that goes on in our Google reviews is all positive. Arnold this, Tom that, Rich, which is me, this. The service was great. The sales team was great. We've brought in a whole new management team. We've brought in all this stuff. The owners of this company wants this to be a good business, but we have bad, negative people that want to stomp their feet, pound on their chest, and demand, oh, I want a third key. Well, you don't get a third key. I want this put on. I want running boards put on. You agreed to this. You agreed to that. Well, where's the we owe? If we owe you that, where's the paperwork that's a we owe? Oh, there's no we owe. Or, you guys said that you were going to supply me a third key. Well, nobody supplies a third key. If you got two keys, you got two keys. There's no dealership that's going to eat $150 for a key, plus a half-hour programming from a technician. So we're talking, $200, $210 now, $220. They're not going to eat that just because you need a third key. Well, you said you were going to do this, this, and this, but it was a used vehicle. Yeah, to an extent, that stuff may happen. But when you start talking about thousands of dollars on top of what you've already agreed on and bought the vehicle, most of the time that's not legit. It's not legit when people start complaining about that stuff. They want their way, and when they can't get it, they go right to social media. Oh, I'm going to threaten, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's a bunch of hogwash. I don't know if you guys would be so kind to use this video as education, to use this video as some kind of inspiration to educate somebody else about what's going on in the automotive industry, and understand that, some dealerships are getting away with it purposely really bad. I get it. Most of them are only doing it because they can't get enough supply to go along with the demand to show some green to justify keeping the doors open. 99.9% of this is the manufacturer's fault. They just don't want to own up to it. You know what they say, crap rolls downhill. It's kind of what's going on here. If you guys would be so kind and you enjoy my content, the dealership allowing me to continue to put out my content, show you guys your maintenance, your TSBs, your recalls, and everything, a lot of times before you even get the notifications through your Ford Pass app and stuff like that. If you've done business with us, if you come here and you've stopped by to see me and you had a problem, and my dealership has been so kind enough to let me come out and help you and work with you through things, and even when you're not being charged, there's no repair order, your vehicle's not in the shop for repairs, or other dealerships that have come here for help and stuff like that, or independent shops. If you'd be so kind to stop by our Google page at Dundee Ford, and then go to reviews and leave some kind of kind words about what you've experienced. I know I've asked for this in the past, and this is kind of my relationship with you. I protect you, you help try to protect me in our tainted name when we're not trying to do anything wrong. We're trying to do good for the customer. The owners of this company are very genuine and sincere about taking care of the customer. That's why we've brought in the management team that we have, and the business that we have, the technicians and stuff that we have. Really, this is an outstanding company, and we don't deserve to be, tainted by a few bad apples out there, and people's, selfishness and what they want, and when they can't get it, they stomp their feet and leave bad reviews and trash people's names and stuff like that. Jump on our page, go by our page, and give us a good review. Say some kind words about me or the service I provide, or the dealership, or one of the service writers that you like here, or one of the techs you like here. Please do so. It would help us out greatly, especially right now when people are so depressed and stressed and just acting all kind of crazy ways. But anyway, I wanted to just talk about the automotive industry and inflated prices and kind of what's going on and how to protect yourself from that price increasing by signing the buyer's agreement and the purchase of the vehicle up front, getting all the paperwork done and not leaving it open because you're not sure if you're going to want your money back and you're going to pick another vehicle or not. And kind of, who's to blame here? It's ultimately it's Ford manufacturing itself. It's corporate itself. I'm sorry. It's just, it is what it is. That's the fact of the matter. I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm not saying anything illegal or against company policy. I'm talking openly and honestly and using my freedom of speech to educate people on what is actually going on. Okay. Stop by and give us a good review, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you. And be blessed. Have a great day.